Welcome back to In the Beginning. We have been looking about creation. We have studied Genesis chapter 1. Today we're moving on to Genesis chapter 2. And in that, what we find is that when God created us, you know what? He put us in charge of a few things. He said, you know what? I want you guys to care for the land. He put Adam in charge of actually naming all of the animals, which I think is one of the coolest things ever. So, because of that, we're going to play a little game. It's a little game time. We brought Devin in, so if you're ready for game time, say, oh yeah, I hear you. Let's get to that game.
All right, thanks, Brother Evan. We are here, and it is time for a little game. So, in our story today, we're talking about how God creates everything, right? We kind of hit on that a little bit last week, but specifically, we're talking about how God created people. And the first person that he created was Adam. Well, now here's something really cool. Adam had the awesome job of naming every single animal on this earth. Now, that's a huge task. And so I thought it would be kind of fun is if we got to name some animals. How does that sound? So what's going to happen is there is going to be an animal on the screen. And what I want you to do is tell me what you think the name of that animal is. Right? So I want you to look at it, examine it, and if you can name it, what would the name of it be? All right? Does that sound pretty cool? Sweet. So I'm going to go ahead and put the first one on the screen right now. And I'm going to let you guys look over it, think about it. What would the name be? All right. So while you're doing this, let's check in with our children's correspondent to see what they said that this animal is.
If I were to name this species, I would name it an Arabian quaquail.
That's a pretty cool name. But actually, the name of this animal that you see right now is called the harpy eagle. Now that's pretty crazy. This harpy eagle is actually found in South America and Central America. So, pretty cool, pretty cool. All right, let's do our next one. Oh, I like this one. So, go ahead and look it over. What does this animal kind of look like to you? I mean, I'd probably call it sleeping on a log, but that's not too original. All right, let's check in with our children's correspondent to see what they said about this one.
I'd name that animal a quadrupus.
All right, well, that's also a really, really cool name. But this name is called a coatimundi. Can you guys say that? Coatimundi. Yeah. So it's really found in Central and South America again, but it also can be found in the U.S. How crazy is that? Yeah, exactly. All right, let's see what our next one is. Ooh, this one's probably one of my favorites. What does that look like? I would probably call that like a octopus fish or something because it's fish, I don't know. But I'll let you guys, since you guys got the creative minds, see what you think that one is actually called. And once again, we are going to check in with our children's correspondent to see how they answered this.
A blobomeme, because it looks like a combination of a blobfish and an anemone.
All right, yes, I love that. But after doing some research on this, it is actually called an axolotl. Axolotl. This is found near Mexico City. So in Mexico, which is pretty close to where we're at now, but Mexico City is where you can find an axolotl. Next up, let's see. I think we have two more. Yep. Here we go. This one. Now, I really, really like this one. I would not want this one to come near me, but it looks pretty cool. Right? What do you think this is? Children's correspondent, how about you guys?
I'd name it a porcupine because it's a porcupine and a pine cone mixed together.
Wow, This one is actually called a pangolin. A pangolin. Excuse me, pangolin. Right? So, these are the only known mammals that has a scale. You know how like fish have scales? Yeah, this is the only known mammal that has scales. It's pretty crazy. They're found in Central and West Africa, India, and Southeast Asia. So you will not see these over here. Sorry. And last, but certainly not least, we have this little guy. Now, I could see some of you guys having him as a little pet, but if he was your pet, what would his name be? But more importantly, what would you name that type of animal? And we're going to kick it over to our children's correspondent one more time to see what they think the name of this animal is.
If it was a girl, Dusty. If it was a boy, Sparky.
All right. Well, the actual name of this animal is called an echinda, right? So an echinda comes from mainly Australia, around where the Tasmanian devil is. Yeah, some cool stuff. So these echindas are found in Australia. So once again, you will not find them here, but if you want to see this cute little guy, you can head on over to Australia. All right, guys, wasn't that fun? So, as much fun as that was, our story is so much more fun, and I really can't wait to tell you guys this awesome story. So give me about 2 seconds, and I'll be right there to tell you that story. See you guys in a second. All right, guys, we are back here with another awesome story. So last week we talked about God creating everything, right? He created the world in 6 days and he rested on the seventh day. Well, if you remember from last week, I told you guys what his most prized creation was, and that was us. And so today I want to tell you the story of how God created people. So this is found in Genesis chapter 2 in verses 2 through 24. So basically the whole chapter, in chapter 2, we are talking about the creation of people. So I'm going to read the story to you because there are some awesome little details in here. So let's pay attention. It says, when God created the heavens and the earth, at first there were no shrubs or plants growing because God had not made it rain and there was no one to care for the land. So it was just bare, there was just things. So God made a mist of water come out of the ground to water the entire surface of the land. After that, God formed man out of dust from the ground. So the first person on earth was Adam. Good job. And so he didn't just, poof, there he was. He took the dust from the ground and then he made him. So that's something really, really awesome. And he breathed life into him and the man became a living being. Right? So this man came from dust, had the breath of God in him. That's awesome. Let's continue on. Then God made a garden in a place called Eden. He put the man there and gave him the garden to work in it and watch over it. God made beautiful trees grow that were good for food. So this man is in this garden and it's growing. It's beautiful. In the middle of the garden, he placed 2 different types of trees, the tree of life and the tree of knowledge of good and evil. The man was allowed to eat from any of the trees in this garden, except for the tree of knowledge of good and evil. So God commanded him not to eat of this tree because this was a command to see if Adam would obey him. He warned the man that if he ate from this tree, he would certainly die. God looked at the man and said, "It is not good for you to be alone." So then God made every wild animal, every bird in the sky. He brought all of these animals to the man, and whatever the man would name them, that would be their name till the end. Among the animals that the man still did not have a good helper, so out of every animal in the world, whether it's a dog or a cat or a bear or a deer, none of these were a good helper for the man. So what did God decide to do? Well, he caused a deep sleep to come over Adam. And while he slept, God took one of Adam's ribs and used it to form the woman we know as Eve. So when God brought the woman to the man said, "At last, this is bone of my bone and flesh of my flesh. I will call her woman because she is from man." And this is the reason that a man leaves his father and mother and marries his wife. So you see, God created all of these things to find that helper for the man. But none of these were good. It was only until God decided to create a woman for the man. And this is super important because, as we know, they got married and they became a family. Families are super important, and that's why God created people. He created us to not only have a relationship with Him, but to do that with our families. And so it's super important that you are with your family, you are spending time with your family, and you are learning about Christ with your family. But also, your church family is super important. And so we cannot wait to see you guys and worship alongside you guys when all of this gets over with, so that we can be that church family again. And so this is what I want you guys to do for this week. I want you to draw a self-portrait of your family. Okay? So if you have a mom, a dad, 3 siblings, 2 dogs, and a cat, I want you to draw all of that, right? Because it will allow you to show how important your family is. And then what I want you to do is write their names, okay? Write their names on that piece of paper above them. And then what I want you to do throughout this whole week is to pick a name and say why they are important to you. Why is my mom my mom? Why is she so important to me? Because she loves me, because she shows me Jesus. And then I want you to pray over that person. Okay? So that is your challenge this week. Like I said, we cannot wait to get back to worship alongside with you every single Sunday. I will see you guys later.
Thank you, Devin, for the reminder from God's Word that, you know what? God created us to live in families. And our families are so, so important. And the next few weeks, we're going to be looking at how we deal with families. Because you know what? If you told me, Bro Evan, I love my family and my brothers and sisters all the time, my parents never make me mad, I wouldn't believe you. Because every now and then, that's going to happen. So we're going to learn how to deal with families in the next few weeks and how we can love on them. But this week, as Devin said, he had a little challenge for you. And I want to take that a step further. He said to go ahead and make sure you're praying for your family members. I want you to think of one thing that you're thankful for each family member. And I want you to just make sure maybe to talk to that family member this week and thank them for that. Let them know things you appreciate about them. Make sure to spend some time with your family this week. So don't forget your memory verse. We'll bring it up one last time here. I will praise you because I have been remarkably and wondrously made. Your works are wondrous, and I know this very well. Psalm 139:14. And you know, when we talk about a family, we talk about our family and being a part of God's family. And one of my favorite songs that we've done, it goes back to Ohana. So we're going to close out Sunday school. If you want to jam a little bit before you go to Brick House Worship, go ahead and jam out with a little Ohana, you and me. Because of God's love, we are family. Let's rock it out, worship, and then head to Brick House.